So the RAF has joined the assault on the Syrian city of Mosul, the Iraqi city of Mosul. It says using fighter jets and drones to destroy Islamic State targets, including a truck bomb and anti-tank gun. The British involvement came as Kurdish and Iraqi ground forces continued their advance in the face of determined opposition from IS fighters and suicide bombers. Our Foreign Affairs correspondent Jonathan Rugman has spent the day with Iraqi forces. He's back in Erbil tonight, from where he joins us now. Jonathan.
John, I think there have been two major developments in the last 24 hours. Firstly, the movement of people. About 5,000 people have moved from the conflict zone across into Syria. Now, that isn't a large number, as you said in your introduction, but the UN is talking about 200,000 people possibly being on the move in the next few days or weeks. Now, the UN has to prepare for large numbers. It also has to raise money, and it has to raise the alarm, and that is certainly what it's doing now. And there aren't enough refugee camps at the moment to cope with the biggest estimate of movement that the UN currently has. The second development is that Iraq's elite special forces, its Golden Division, have started moving up towards the front, certainly the front I was on today. And the Special Forces commander told me that he is hoping that his troops are fighting inside the city of Mosul by the end of next week. This afternoon we watched a long column of Iraqi special forces moving towards the city of Mosul, ahead of the biggest battle Iraq will have seen in well over a decade. The Kurdish Peshmerga forces have cleared the villages around here, and now the elite special forces of Iraq's Golden Division are moving in for an attack which they tell us they will launch tomorrow night, amid every sign that this battle and this advance is intensifying. Some of them are flying Shia religious flags, and for them this is holy war against the Sunni extremists who are holding Iraq's second biggest city hostage. The men say they're ready if attacked with chemical weapons, but it's the promise of coalition airstrikes which is keeping morale high.
We expect everything from the terrorists, but airstrikes will clean the place up for us first.
And their commander told me that battle could start as soon as next week.
Between now and next Friday we will be in Mosul, God willing. We know how to deal with ISIS.
And thousands have begun moving in the opposite direction. Some into Syria, these towards Iraqi government lines south of Mosul, with the UN expecting 200,000 on the move in the next few weeks.
Islamic State fighters had run away, so we walked towards the army. We came to them with white flags. They told us welcome, cross directly here. We crossed and we stayed in the field, and we're still here. It's been 2 days for us.
The situation for the people of Mosul is bad. People are hungry. Everything is terrible. I'm telling you, it is bad. Islamic State are like rotten shoes. The whole world is being destroyed because of those men. Why don't they destroy them with the planes? Kill them in broad daylight like sheep to the slaughter.
In the village of Badana, though, we found a man returning to the ruins of his home, liberated after over 2 years in ISIS control. They threw my Quran on the ground, he said in disgust. I built this house, and God himself would not accept what happened here. Beneath the village, a network of ISIS tunnels. This entrance booby-trapped with a homemade bomb. Iraqi special forces took us down inside one tunnel they had cleared. They were sleeping here to escape the airstrikes, they said. With what sounded like awe for the enemy they now face. ISIS is strong and here to stay, says this graffiti. Not true now, but jihad becomes popular when all else fails, and you wonder who will pay to rebuild shattered lives here. The Americans say this advance by their Iraqi protégés is going well, though they warn that as ISIS gives up ground, it may resort to urban warfare in Mosul instead. Airstrikes like this one by the RAF on an ISIS truck bomb may well have saved lives. though if civilians are used as human shields, then air power could prove far more difficult. For now, much of the fighting has been across fairly open ground, ISIS propaganda videos portraying stiff resistance. Though it now feels as if a battle of epic proportions is looming for Mosul itself.
Well, now, Jonathan, amongst the attacking forces, there are thousands of Shia militia. Are they a help or a hindrance?
Oh, they're definitely a hindrance, John. They are backed by Iran. They are supported by Nouri al-Maliki, a disgruntled former Iraqi prime minister, and they want revenge for ISIS massacres in the south of Iraq. The problem is we just don't know if the Iraqi government can really control them. They've said today that they want to fight for the town of Tal Afar, which is out to the west of Mosul. Now, Tal Afar has an ethnic Turkmen population. These are people who speak a form of Ottoman Turkish, and many people consider them Turkish. Now, they are a mix of Sunni and Shia, and the Shia militiamen accuse the Sunnis of driving the Shia Turkmen out. And the danger will be if these Shia militiamen are just after blood and start massacring Sunnis as they advance. An additional problem is that there are a couple of thousand of Turkish troops based in northern Iraq, and their president, President Erdogan, is itching to get involved in this fight as well. And so the nightmare scenario, if you like, is if you have Shia militiamen on one side, the Turkish army on the other, wanting to get involved to protect the Sunnis of Tal Afar, which is why the Americans are doing all they can to try and control Turkish ambitions, even if they can't control those of the Shia militiamen and the Iranians.